the session before the break is always hard. So I'll make it a little lighter. So today is a very special day. It's October 15th. I don't know if you are aware, it's the birth date of our beloved president, APJ. So what I have done is basically I have converted my presentation and I'll try to make a 3-stage rocket. So I'm going to redefine the ad network industry, and I'll try to make an attempt that it's very much like launching a 3-stage rocket. So if you know the aerodynamics, or if you have heard the rocket and missile technology, there are 3 stages. The first one, which is most important, is called liftoff, when you have to basically just leave the Earth. The second one is basically attaining escape velocity, when you have to run against the gravity and you have to transition into the outside of atmosphere. Last, which is more precision-led orbit trajectory, where you go to the final trajectory and that's what your vision and mission is. So that's how we are seeing the AdTech technology also heading in that direction. And I'll try to make an attempt and see if I can articulate the vision in similar story. So coming to the stage first. So when we started, the mobile industry was a very new phenomena, and there are some very funny story. Anyone we talk to that we are in mobile industry, and they felt that we were the responsible for all the spam they were getting on SMS. That are you guys sending? So we said it took us time. No, we are not sending the scam. We are in the app world and mobile web ecosystem. We moved from there. Then I remember a meeting in Indonesia. We wanted to meet the biggest mobile advertiser over there. And guess what? We were waiting in a coffee shop. All of a sudden, a truck came in front of us, and the truck has this board. So this guy was running 100 such trucks where you can put your message and they'll be mobile in the city. So he thought this is the mobile advertising. So the lift-off was quite funny. But nonetheless, it was very advertiser focused. What advertiser want, that's how it needs to be built. ROI was very important. They were not interested in anything. These were the guys who were paying. So end of the day, is I'm getting the ROI. If what I'm selling is what was the purpose of advertising. Similarly, we used to rent a space, or our SDK or code will go into various publishers. So they were expecting money based on that. So the advertising is all about meeting the ROI for this advertiser, making money for publisher, and do something little bit in between. But the whole experience, as you can imagine, was a monologue. It's like a spray and pray. I have a proposition, doesn't matter, I will show it to 100 users, and what happens after that is just, it's a science that we were improvising on. But these were the really 4 fundamentals, how the lift-off stage was in terms of mobile advertising platform itself. And we did good. We did good because 90% of the startup, they actually are not able to lift off. Something goes wrong. Founder ran away, somebody got married, the advertiser didn't pay. So a lot of such things, they can happen, but we were the lucky one, and we actually lifted off the ground. And we lifted off in a very good way. We started moving into a global advertising firm, moved out of one country and started our business in 22 countries within 2 years. So that we call the era of stage 2. When by then the Google, Facebook, Twitter, everybody was jumping into the fray. And at one point of time, at that stage, there were roughly 150 mobile ad network across the globe. So this was the time when the battle is out and open and everybody has to make sense. But the things at least improved. We were not known as spam. People knew that it's an important part of ecosystem. Internet is all about free content. And no matter how we hate advertising, this is one of the important component or pillar that keeps internet free. But at the same time, it needs to make meaning for everyone. Not for only advertiser and publisher. So I think this was the stage where transition started to happen. User experience started to become a very important entity. If you remember in 2009-8. Or even 10, 11, some of the beautiful apps started to come into the market. Even Facebook and Twitter, they were very well designed that what exactly user want to do. Even if you see the news prints, Flipboard, all these things start to come into the ecosystem, and it was all about user experience. So little bit some transition happened on the advertising side as well. Relevance start to matter. You cannot do spray and pray anymore because I think if a user like cricket, you just cannot show him any other game that he has no interest on. So for example, baseball, it may not apply a lot of people over here because they may not want to know what's going on in major baseball league, but in US it's a very big deal. So those inferences and those components started to become very integral part of what we were doing. Native, I think it's a 4 or 5 years old term in the industry, but this is also one of the components that has redefined this feature. And what native is basically, if you see advertising, you are playing a game. In early days, some banner from somewhere, it will come and all of a sudden destroy the user experience. If you are moving your screen to left, the ad will still be over there, and that was not acceptable. If you are talking about user experience, it needs to embed into the master container of that app or that game or any web view that is being used over there. So this was the component that happened in this stage where the ad started to look like a content, and if you add relevance to it, it actually becomes part of the content. So for example, if you want a sport page, you're reading a lot of things about cricket, and at the same time, you'll see maybe a live ad of Nimbus or some of these sports magazines. So this is what all three together started to redefine stage 2. This was a very important component, a strong notion of user value. Experience, native, and relevance is all on one side, but what's in it for user? I mean, advertiser is getting his ROI. All the three things that I'm talking about will improve the publisher user experience, will give more ROI to advertiser, but it's user giving something or user getting more to it. So this was the beginning of that thought process that started to come, and that's where basically, we felt that now by doing such four things, we have started to attain stage 2 in our pursuit to final journey. And some people might say, if you have done stage 2, you might be one of the unicorn. So somebody just mentioned the term. But I think we really took this challenge that if we are one of the company who are already on this stage, what do we do next? Can we redefine this industry? Can we create a niche that doesn't exist? And one of our mentor, Nandan Nilekani, one thing he told us when we were discussing, everybody is not a monologue that I was talking to you in stage 1. It becomes a dialogue between me and you, the user. The third one is, the point that I was making monologue to conversation. And then, who we will be. We will not be a spam or advertising and all those things. We'll be a trusted friend, or we'll be a trusted entity into the ecosystem who is helping you to discover the item that you can cherish and you can admire. By the way, I just saw Arun sir is over here, so if most of you are not aware, he was instrumental in where we are. He was the first person we met when we wanted to found this company, so I couldn't stop talking about him as soon as I saw him. So advertising today is literally this. Stage 1, stage 2, what I told you is pretty much this. It's just like a loudspeaker saying things, telling to the user. You see a clutter of proposition all across, and it doesn't have any trust. And I don't blame people, why they heard of us in early days as a spam or someone who's just trying to do something which is intrusive. And what we want to do is, how we want to change it. So I was telling you the user behavior around eco-space has changed. You remember in early days you used to call or book taxi almost 2 days ahead when you wanted to go to airport. And even until the taxi arrived, you were always worried whether this guy will come or not. How many people now worry about booking the taxi? There is a Ola, there is a Uber. You make decision in 5 minutes. You are hungry. We were just listening about Domino's. You want to eat. Your expectation is the food should be here in 20 days. So everything has changed around us. Mobile has bring a different level of efficiency. So that's what happened to the ecosystem. Why not ads should also follow the same thing? Can I have an ad of Uber when I need a Uber? Why do I have to go and open up a Uber ad? So think from that point of view. So I think advertising has to be that meaningful, and it has to evolve along with the ecosystem. And this is the mobile first era. Everything that we do starts from mobile. So I think the advertising has to be once again thought through and built for this particular device where we live 90% of our life. And we also believe that during the 24 hours in a day, you have millions of discovery movement. You see things, you like them, you don't like them, whatever the outcome is, but at least that's a discovery. And what if we can stitch them together and we can merge the proposition based on your liking? then we can make a story out of these million engaging events that we are having on daily basis. And if we do that, we also have a luxury of that I interact with user in thousands of apps, which means you are in thousands of contexts. You might be doing certain things, and I can find out so many things about your traits, what you like, what you dislike, what your liking is, that will even help us together in this engagement and in this narrative that we are going to start to make the precise discovery where the meaning of advertising will completely change than what it was in early days. So this is our attempt, and what we call this platform is MEEP. And what this is trying to do is basically a new discovery platform by InMobi. We are not even calling it an advertising platform. It's about finding what you like and showing you in the context where you are in. I think this is okay. And think about it, why we believe this is the right time. I think this is the era of commerce. When I say commerce, commerce existed 10 years, 15 years, it's there, and it's quite popular in US as well. But I think there is a tremendous level of opportunity in some of the Southeast Asian company, including Europe and even in US as well. If you add all, there is a big $1 billion sale going on in Flipkart and all those things. Do you know that there are almost million of SKU if you add whole Snapdeal, Walmart, and it's almost impossible to see everything what's happening. Imagine if somebody can help you to put that million thing together and tell you these 20 things that matter to you. Don't you think that will be a beautiful life? That will be a different meaning to discovery and the advertising as we know it today. That is precisely what we are going to do. Here is another problem. No matter how big e-commerce player you are, generally your user base is 20 million, 60 million, 70 million. Even if you are 150 million, you have a very big user base. But out of that user base, around 2%, 10% people are active at any point of time. We see 150 million on everyday basis and 1.24 on a monthly basis. Imagine for these store, we can have 1.2 billion sessions in a month. Our reach is massive that they can practically never reach because there is so much, that app download, and they have to come onto that app and they have to use it. So do you see the synergy that what it is doing for user and what it is doing for a storefront? And imagine if we can somehow wonderfully stitch these two worlds together, I think there'll be a completely new revolution in commerce, and that's what we call the largest distributed platform on earth, and that's what we are envisioning in our course. But like I said, in a rocket launch, 3-stage rocket launch, third stage is the most critical. When Chandrayaan was launched, because even if you make 0.00001% deviation in degree, your rocket ends up in somewhere completely different place, and it might never come back. So same thing with us, with little room for error. The understanding of user is also like a rocket science. It's hard. Even God cannot predict what you want, what you like. And there are men, and if you add women to it, nobody can understand. So we know that we are up against a very, 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 very big problem. It's a iterative experience. It is going to stitch your past, and it is going to relate your past into your current context and predict the future. So in one sentence, it's looked pretty simple, but it's not an easy task. So how we are planning to do it? What are we going to do about it? So what we have created a massive platform over last 1 year, which is built on user emotional graph. And why we believe this is the way? Because you have multiple choices. You interact with multiple apps, and every time you interact with app or an ad, we try to read your emotional state, where you're liking it or you are not liking it, you are completely disengaged with it, you are engaged with it, and there are sciences to basically get those signals and put those pictures into the place. And this is being done irrespective of country, region, or wherever you are, and everything in some millisecond. So imagine these 1.24 or 1.3 billion possibly session I'm talking about, storing and keeping every trait, every stage, and every vector that possibly I can get from you, and then stitching your past, present, and future and making a sense of it. That's really what we are trying to do. But we are quite hard at it, And we also believe that emotional graph is the key to solve this problem. We are very firm, and we have a huge data to believe. And we believe what Google has done, which was the era of early 2000, they solved the problem by intent graph. So what you did in Google in early years, you used to go and you say, hey, show me radio or show me TV or something, and then you get the search page. That's how the world of intent was. But what happened in 2008 and 9? Facebook came. Everything became social. People actually stopped going to the internet and they start asking questions to their friend, hey, what do you have? Is this TV good? Is this radio good? What kind of car you have? You know, all kind of discoveries start to happen in social. But think what's happening right now. We believe the key to merge this millions of opportunity on one side and then attaching it to your emotional state is the new era of discovery. So I think this is our way of creating experience that was built for you, which is built to please you, or something that you always like to do and nudge you in the right direction, versus explicitly knowing your intent and trying to get your social thing together. So what do we have under the hood? So you know, I know it's a product and it's a product enclave, so I thought I'll show you some technical stuff as well that you might appreciate, that what goes under the hood in order to do that. So this is actually not a jellyfish. This is a live dashboard that we have. As you can see, we serve ads from Europe, 2 locations in Europe. There is 2 locations in US. There is one in Boston and San Jose. There is one East Hong Kong. These are billions of events that are flowing on real-time basis. And there is a central unit. It looks like a neural network. Everything goes inside. Every minute, we collect more than 1 million signals about what our users are doing. And everything gets synced up at one place and, you know, crunched against what kind of inference we want to build, and then send back to these locations so that we can use when I see that user next time. So imagine if I have seen you 10 times in a day and you are watching a shoe, and you saw a blue color shoe, then you saw a red color shoe, and then you saw some other different kind of shoe. And you are somehow not buying it or something. So I try to infer and I try to find out where your vectors are quite strong and what possibly you are looking for. And we try to next experience, whenever you come to our platform next, we try to get your discovery or your choices on the shoe as closer to as the sale. So this is really what goes over there. I literally took this diagram from our Jira software. So pretty much the architecture of this user platform that I show you is like that. You know, there is a batch compute. We have a Storm and Kafka which collect all this information on real-time basis. And there is a very high performance KV store in the middle, which can basically process 1 million read and write per second at the same time. So which means you can write and you can read everything, all the information that is coming about these users at the same time. These are some of the information that I use in order to infer what you're doing. So there is an app side. You know, app has a huge context. If you are on a sports site, it tells you something about you. You know, if you are on a movie app, it tells something about you, that you are interested in this movie and all. So that is a one important component. Your device is very personal. It actually tells about your personality. You'll be amazed at how you select a phone is so depends on who you are. You know, even the color, even the model, everything. So we try to infer a lot of things from there. Geo is very important. You know, where you live, what you do, how do you travel, means what is your routine. And last but not least is user. All the information that I know about from a first party, second party, third party, and some information, it's all crunched together to basically create this discovery platform. When everything is crunched, it is sorted in some of these big items. As you can see, there is a category, there is a review, there is a version, in-app purchase information, number of downloads. When everything all come together, basically we have a map for every user on our platform. And there is a plan, there is a history, there is an iterative conversation with every user, which sometimes look like this. But why we are changing this? Why we are even trying to do this when it's so hard? You know, so I have a very small clipping that I will end. You know, I felt very bad when we were trying to start a startup and somebody came and said, are you guys responsible for the spam? And same thing, you know, when we were trying to change the world. We believe advertising is necessary, and it is important to keep the content free. And at the same time, I also believe this can be made beautiful. This can be made relevant, and it can be made or turned into an amazing interactive opportunity for user. So my goal is we will keep working on this and make it beautiful until next time I meet people and I say, how do you feel about advertising? They should have this feeling. So I think it's, oh, so looks like audio was not there, but if you have seen the Gravity movie, this guy sees the earth, and if you remember that scene, pretty much that's the feeling I want people to have when they think about advertising. Thank you, guys. That's all I have.